Welcome to this Be Red Cross Ready presentation. Thank you for your interest in learning more about how to prepare for and stay safe in the case that flooding occurs in your community, as floods are one of the most common and most costly natural disasters that affect the United States. Flooding occurs when water overflows onto land that is normally dry, and it is a threat to some part of the United States and its territories nearly every day of the year. Floods are always dangerous to anyone and anything in their path, such as people, animals, and property. Do you know how flooding can be triggered? Many different various situations can trigger flooding, including hurricanes that can bring heavy rains and storm surge, rapidly melting snow that can overwhelm rivers. There can be extended rain for long periods of time or sudden intense rainfall, or dams and levees can fail. Flooding can also result when rain, snow melt, or storm runoff overwhelm structures that are built to contain or control large volumes of water. Floodwaters often rise very rapidly, leaving little time to react and get to a safe place. Your safety depends on understanding floods, staying informed about conditions, and acting quickly. Weather forecasters use the terms flood watch, flood warning, and flash flood warning to describe flooding potential. A flood watch means a flood is possible and you should be prepared to act. A flood warning means flooding is already happening or will happen soon and that you should take immediate precautions and get to higher ground. A flash flood warning means that flash flooding is imminent or already occurring. You should take immediate precautions and get to higher ground. Floodwaters can be very powerful. Every year in the United States, floods kill about 93 people and can cause billions of dollars worth of damage. Rising waters cause land damage to buildings, roads, and other properties. Just 6 inches of fast-moving water can knock down an adult, and 12 inches can sweep away most cars. Aside from the immediate dangers of floodwaters, floods also leave behind additional risks. Flooded areas are often covered with mud, silt, and sharp or heavy debris. Flooding can also trigger landslides. Water sources and flooded areas can be contaminated with hazardous materials such as fuel, untreated sewage, pesticides, and dangerous building materials. People can become ill with bouts of diarrhea and respiratory illnesses when drinking water, sanitation, and electricity are unavailable for weeks or days. Exposure to floodwater increases the risk of infections to open wounds and mosquito-borne diseases. Flooding also leaves behind mold, which can continue to cause damage and make people sick long after the flood. Mold can start growing on a damp surface within 24 to 48 hours, and mold will continue to grow until steps are taken to eliminate the source of moisture and effectively deal with the mold problem. Now we'll discuss the additional things that you can do to be ready before a flood threatens your community. At this point, we hope that you and your household have already taken the steps to prepare for a disaster, which means you've collected essential disaster supplies, created a household disaster plan, and have become informed about preparedness in general. If you or someone in your household has access or functional needs, be sure that you've created a personal support network, practiced with them, and are able to quickly provide instructions to others on how to assist. Be sure to have at least a 7-day supply of prescription medications and medical supplies, along with copies of prescriptions, a list of all medications and dosages, a list of allergies, and a list of any dietary restrictions. If you have a service animal, be sure to include food, water, identification tags, and supplies. Also include battery backup power for power-dependent mobility devices, oxygen, and other assistive technology needs. To include flooding in your household preparedness efforts, first, add to your disaster kit. Consider tools and supplies for securing your home, rain gear, entertainment items, and sleeping bags for evacuation. Next, tailor your plan for what you and your household will do during a flood, and this includes your pets. Learn about your community's evacuation plan and identify several posted routes to leave the area. Check with your state's Department of Transportation or Office of Emergency Management website to find evacuation routes that are near you. Plan ahead for accessible transportation that you may need for evacuation. You can work with local services, public transportation, or paratransit to identify your local or private accessible transportation options. It's also a good idea to know where you will meet up with members of your household if you are separated. Know where you will stay if you have to evacuate, and look for motels and emergency shelters in your local area and along your evacuation routes. If you do not have your own form of transportation, plan for how you will get to a safe place. Before a flood, it is a good idea to place any important documents, such as insurance policies or birth certificates, and other valuables in a waterproof container to help them to stay dry and easily accessible. Consider using a fire and water-resistant safe or bank safe deposit box, and also consider saving electronic copies or pictures of documents. Finally, you can also stay informed by having access to weather radio broadcasts. If you don't have a battery-powered or hand crank radio, please consider it. It is very common to experience power, cellular, and internet outages during and after disaster. If needed, be sure to get a weather radio with text display and flashing alerts to stay informed. You may also sign up in advance to receive emergency notifications from your local emergency services. Additionally, you can stay updated on current conditions with the U.S. Geological Survey's Water Now and Water Alert services, which send text messages about current water levels near you. When a flood is predicted, even if the forecasters have not confirmed the exact areas it may impact, it is vital to prepare to evacuate quickly. Check and replenish your disaster supplies for your household and your pets. Bring any pets indoors. Secure your important documents. Continually monitor local area radio, the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administrative Radio, and TV news for updates. Also follow any advice and orders from local emergency officials. Then, if you have time, you can fill plastic bottles with clean water for drinking, fill bathtubs and sinks with water for flushing the toilet and washing floors or clothing, fill your vehicle's gas tank in case evacuation is ordered, and turn off propane tanks and unplug small appliances. And then, if you still have time, you can move furniture and valuables to higher floors inside your home and turn off utilities only if you are ordered to do so by authorities. Be aware that if you shut off your main gas, a professional must be the one that turns it back on. During a flood, your first priority should be to get to higher ground. Stay away from underpasses, dips, low spots, canyons, washes, and riverbanks that can quickly become flooded. Do not walk through floodwater because just 6 inches of fast-flowing water can knock you over. Do not drive through flooded areas. It's important thing to remember is turn around, don't drown. It is also impossible to determine how deep water is in an area that's experienced heavy rains or a flood, and only 12 inches of fast-flowing water can sweep away a car. It simply is not worth the risk. If you're caught in a vehicle on a flooded road with rapidly rising water, get out of the vehicle quickly and move to higher ground. Avoid floodwater and do not allow children to play in it or near it. Floodwater may be contaminated with sewage or chemicals and contain dangerous insects or animals. Once the rain stops or the floodwater seems to be going down, check for injuries and then let friends and family know that you're safe. When driving, avoid flooded roads. As previously mentioned, turn around, don't drown. Stay out of any building that has water around it. When inside your home, don't walk across sagging floor that could collapse. Watch for rodents, snakes, spiders, and insects that may have entered your home. And also avoid pushing or leaning against walls and furniture that may have been damaged. If the weather is dry, open windows and doors for fresh air and to help your home dry out. This is important when dealing with mold, which is a serious health risk following a flood. It is particularly harmful to children under the age of 12, anyone with asthma, allergies, or other breathing conditions, and people with weakened immune systems. Continue to take care of yourself and loved ones. If you are uncertain of the quality of water in your home, use bottled water. Check your refrigerated food for spoilage, and when in doubt, throw it out. Pay attention to how you and your loved ones are experiencing and handling the stress of the disaster. Help people who need additional assistance, including infants, older adults, those without transportation, and individuals with functional or access needs, and the people who care for them. If you had to evacuate, only return home once local authorities have said it's safe to do so. And always remember your pets too. After storms, the number of animal injuries increase due to debris, so watch animals closely and keep them under your direct control. If you encounter an abandoned pet, please use caution. The combination of confused dogs and stressed people can increase the likelihood of dog bites. Be sure to stay informed by listening to local news or an NOAA weather radio for updated information and instructions. If you've had to evacuate and the local authorities say it's safe to return to your neighborhood to inspect your home for the first time, there are some general things that you should keep in mind. Consider whether or not you should bring children. It may be unsafe for them, and seeing the damage may add stress that they are already experiencing. It may be better to leave them with a trusted relative or a friend for the first time that you return to your home. Keep well away from loose or down power lines and report them immediately to a power company. Once you get to your home, be sure to wear protective gear, including boots and gloves, eye protection, a dust mask or respirator, and a hard hat if you have one. Please note that if you want to wear a respirator, you should first check with your doctor, as there are some possible risks. Then learn how to select the best one for your needs and how to correctly use it. If the conditions are safe and you use protective gear, you can make temporary repairs to cover holes, brace walls, and remove debris. If the power is out, always use a flashlight. Do not use an open flame, including candles. If you have a generator, be familiar with the operating instructions and take precautions to avoid carbon monoxide poisoning, electrocution, and fires. You can find additional information about generators and proper use on the American Red Cross website. If you smell natural or propane gas or hear a hissing noise, leave immediately and get far away. Then call the fire department once you reach safety. Finally, take pictures of any damage and save all receipts associated with cleanup and repairs, as you will likely need them for insurance purposes. Recovering from a disaster can be a long process, and you will need to learn more about how to clean up, including the supplies you'll need and how to make repairs. You can go to the American Red Cross Disaster Relief and Recovery Services website, which is redcross.org/get-help, or download the emergency app from the Red Cross to learn more about how to clean up, assess your situation, make repairs, and access resources. The app is available for free through the Apple and Google Play stores. So far in this presentation, we focused on how you can prepare and protect yourself and members of your household, but there are also some things that you can do to get your home ready for a flood. If you live in a floodplain, you can work with professionals to raise and reinforce your home to make damage less likely during a flood. But some other actions that prepare your home include raising your furnace, water heater, and electrical panel to floors that are less likely to be flooded. An undamaged water heater may be your best source of fresh water after a flood. Installing check valves in your plumbing to prevent floodwater from backing up into the drains of your home can also be a helpful task. Sealing walls and basement with waterproofing compounds to avoid seepage through the cracks, and learning how to shut off the main gas in your home can also be a great idea, but make sure to keep a wrench handy for that purpose. You should also consider buying flood insurance, as homeowners insurance typically does not cover flood damage. Remember that flood insurance typically takes time to come into effect after purchase. If you have any questions about this presentation, you can email mnpreparedness@redcross.org or call your local Red Cross office. For Red Cross disaster assistance, call 1-844-878-9933. If you would like more information about anything else that the American Red Cross provides, please check out redcross.org or talk to one of our volunteers, as they are always happy to assist. If you found today's presentation helpful, please recommend it to your friends, neighbors, and coworkers. Thank you again for listening. I hope that you now feel more confident and prepared to help your household be Red Cross ready.